Now at noon, the president tells CBS News that U.S. troops will stay in Iraq, the reason he wants to keep them there. And the New England Patriots celebrating their 6th Super Bowl win. What you need to know about this historic win.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now at noon. Many of us talking about our weather outside. We're seeing another foggy day here. Chris Reese is here with our first alert forecast. Chris?
Yeah, that's right, Mark. We've seen a lot of that fog out there today, but finally conditions are starting to get a lot better for us out there. Let's go ahead and show you guys visibility. You see it right behind me. We've seen the visibility improving as we have gone throughout the day, but there are still some spots in south central Wisconsin where visibility is less than a mile, so we do at least have to be somewhat mindful of that. And here's a live look downtown. You see some of that fog starting to lift away. Temperatures are in the 40s for now, but things are about to get a lot colder. You see those 30s not too far to our west, 23 as you work your way towards Decorah, Iowa. So that cold air is not too far away. In fact, as we zoom out across the upper Midwest, it's 11 as you work your way up towards the Twin Cities. So sure enough, just as that cold air moved out and we got used to the warmth, that cold air is surely working its way back in here to remind us that it is indeed still winter. Now, the cold front responsible has moved through, so we won't see as much more in the way of showers and rain, but expect those temperatures to gradually fall as we go through the rest of the afternoon and evening. In fact, as you begin to plan ahead, Mark, expect those clouds to stay around, but temperatures will be in the teens by the time we're waking up tomorrow.
And hopefully a lot of this water will evaporate before it freezes.
Hopefully so, but it's going to be tough to get that to do so.
All right, interesting change coming our way. We'll see you in a few minutes. Chris, thank you. Topping our news at noon, a Lyft driver is charged with sexual assault. Police say he asked to use a rider's bathroom, then assaulted her. Madison police say a 25-year-old woman got a ride to her Langdon Street home around 2 a.m. Saturday. They say 28-year-old Hassan Hamad got into her apartment by claiming he needed to use the bathroom. Following the assault, the woman called police and provided information that led to Hamad being arrested after a traffic stop. 3 schools in Oregon are following a normal schedule again. The high school, middle school, and Rome Corners Intermediate School were put on a soft lockdown this morning as police looked into some comments made on a bus. Oregon district officials say a soft lockdown is a police term, and the district typically calls it a hold. During a hold, the classes continue, but no one's allowed in or out of the building. Police are currently meeting with a couple of students, but say there is no threat to any of the schools. Police are calling a shooting on the city's west side targeted. 2 people have been arrested in connection to the shooting. The 57-year-old man who was shot is doing okay. The shooting happened yesterday morning around 11 o'clock outside the Seago Terrace Apartments. That's an affordable housing complex near Hilldale Mall, whose residents are mostly elderly and people with disabilities. Those residents say it's a relatively quiet place to live in on any other day. Police are stepping up security down by Memorial Union this week. Officers say a complete stranger attacked a woman and sent her to the hospital. It happened around 3:30 yesterday morning on Langdon Street. There is no word on how the woman's doing at this hour. Police do not have anyone in custody, but they are adding extra patrols to the area going forward. President Trump says he is making waves in the Middle East. He talked about his plans for that part of the world as part of an interview with Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan. The president ordered the withdrawal of troops from Syria and is considering the same for Afghanistan, but he says there will be no withdrawal from Iraq. The president insists he is not signaling a potential strike against Iran. Today, the Iraqi president says the U.S. has never asked permission to use its forces to watch Iran.
All I want to do is be able to watch. We have an unbelievable and expensive military base built in Iraq. It's perfectly situated for looking at all over different parts of the troubled Middle East.
They have no other definition or defined mission beyond helping Iraqi forces in the fight against terrorism.
President Trump is also ordering nearly 4,000 more troops to the southern U.S. border, where he says the United States is facing a crisis. The president also commented on a special counsel Robert Mueller's report on possible collusion with Russia during the 2016 presidential election. He says he'll leave it up to the attorney general to decide whether to release Mueller's report. And the New England Patriots are celebrating their Super Bowl victory. Tom Brady and company beat the Los Angeles Rams in Atlanta last night to win their 6th championship, tying the Pittsburgh Steelers for the record. Wide receiver Julian Edelman won the Super Bowl MVP. It was the lowest scoring Super Bowl in history. The game's only touchdown broke a fourth-quarter stalemate, giving New England the edge. At 66, Coach Bill Belichick is the oldest head coach to win a Super Bowl, and his quarterback, Tom Brady, at 41, is the oldest quarterback to win as well. And you probably noticed by now that we have a new space here that we're really excited to show you. It's been a busy couple of months for us here at Channel 3. We've been planning for these changes for the past year. And you might remember we left our old set back in early December. Since then, we've been working on this new one. You can see some new video displays, an updated weather center, and other tools to help us bring you breaking news and other stories to southern Wisconsin. We've been on the air since 1956, and this is our biggest studio renovation to date. You can see we have 2 massive monitors behind me. Those are going to give us more information and chances to tell your stories and give you up-to-the-minute information in new ways. We also wanted our name to reflect what we strive to do every day, tell you what's happening right now, and bringing you those important stories as soon as they happen. You rely on channel3000.com to stay connected 24/7. Now, our Alert Center is going to feed updates right to our broadcast show in real time. It's also going to help us with the ultimate goal, that is to bring you the most local news in our area. We've invested more of our time and resources on what's happening in your backyard with the most reporters and photographers on the street each and every day. This is the new News 3 Now, and we're glad to have you tune in. Exciting times ahead. Up next on this program, we'll find out what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
This week kicks off the Chinese New Year, and to ensure that it's a sweet one, we have a classic almond cookie that might just bring you luck. This week kicks off the Chinese New Year, which is also known as the Spring Festival. It's a time for celebrating and for spring cleaning. where it's a tradition to sweep away the bad fortune to make way for good luck. And since we believe every holiday or festival needs sweets, we want to share a classic cookie that may bring you luck. We begin by creaming together some butter, sugar, an egg, water, and some almond extract. After that's well blended, we add some flour and baking powder. Make sure you do this slowly so you don't end up with a big mess. Now we scoop or roll the dough into 1-inch balls and place them on a baking sheet. And to get these just the right shape, we flatten them with the bottom of a glass and sprinkle them with sugar. Then we top each with an almond and we bake them off. That's all there is to it. What we end up with is a melt-in-your-mouth cookie that's bursting with flavor. You can whip these up start to finish in less than 30 minutes. To get the recipe for our Chinese almond rounds, all you need to do is check out our website, and hopefully these cookies will bless you with good fortune. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a lucky, festive way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, Howard, thank you. A little foggy today, well, actually very foggy today, but a little touch of spring out there. Are we expecting things to turn colder? Yep, we are. Chris will join us after the break with our first alert forecast. Let's check Wall Street at the noon hour. The Dow Industrials is down 24 points. The NASDAQ down 64, and the S&P 500 also down almost 8 points. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee, who has our farm news on this foggy Monday.
Yeah, but short sleeve foggy, baby. I'm digging this for at least a little while.
Yeah,
we'll
me
wait
too.
to see what happens later this week. Yeah. So a lot of Wisconsin farmers are trying to pick up the pieces from all that erratic weather last week. Mark talked with quite a few of them last week at the Corn Soy Expo. If it wasn't the machinery that was kind of broken down, something snapped. Livestock, the farmers are going to have to go from buttoning up all those barns last week with that sub-zero weather to trying to monitor air quality and open things back up with this foggy overcast business. This is ideal conditions, unfortunately, for pneumonia. So our farmers are going to have to watch that. Do want them to know that the Farm Service Agency office is reminding them about the livestock indemnity program. If you did lose livestock last week because of the erratic weather, or you're afraid you're going to lose them, might want to touch base with them and see what kind of reimbursement may be available through that program. You know, it's not going to be much, but something's better than nothing. So just keep that in mind. So this week we're getting ready. We've got a dairy margin protection program going on starting at 1 o'clock this afternoon up at the administration building in Portage for Columbia County. If you dairy farmers are trying to figure out what risk management tools might help you, today, 1 o'clock in Portage. That's where you might want to be. Later this week, Friday and Saturday, I'll see you at the Wisconsin Cattlemen's Convention at the Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells. As far as the dairy markets are concerned today in Chicago, most of that downturn, not only our fluid milk contracts are trading lower, but also our product prices today have finished lower. Barrel cheese is down a quarter, 129 3/4. 40-pound block cheese down a penny and a quarter at 148 3/4. The AA butter 3/4 cent lower today, 228 1/4 per pound. So we'll have to wait and see if those icy roads that are in our short-term forecast do anything to change our driving schedule when it comes to the Cattlemen's Convention in Wisconsin Dells Friday and Saturday, and way up in Stevens Point for the FFA Alumni Convention Friday through Sunday too, Mark. So got a few miles ahead of us. I'll be curious to hear what that forecast holds in store.
You're getting less tolerant of icy and snowy weather as you get older.
Yes. I would say that that's a fair statement. That's a very fair statement.
Me too. All right. We'll see you later.
All right.
Chris is over in the Weather Center. Our first alert forecast. Fog is slowly lifting.
And that's the case right now. It's not the ice, instead is the fog that we do have in the area. And a lot of that is mainly centered over the eastern half of the state right now. As you work your way back towards the west, we're starting to see visibilities approaching 9 and 10 miles, really for the first time in a while. That's a sign of that cold front starting to work its way on through here. Temperatures mainly in the 40s for us. 43 right now in Madison, 46 as you work your way over towards Janesville. Temperatures close to 50 down towards Kenosha as well. But the problem is back towards the west, that is where things are a lot colder. Decorah, 21 degrees right now. That is a sign of that colder air working its way back into the picture. 43 here in Madison. Winds coming out of the west and northwest at 13 miles per hour as we speak, and they're going to continue to increase from the north and west. Now, we've gotten the rain on out of here. That is good news. It is mainly across parts of eastern Lake Michigan and into the state of Michigan as well. But what that does is opens up the northwest flow to send that colder air back into the picture, my friend. So while, yes, we're in the 20s across parts of Iowa, teens, single digits, and even temperatures below zero show up really far to our north and west, but that is going to be working its way on into town. Here's what we actually have going on. You've got your colder air across Canada, your milder air to the south and east, the jet stream in between those. And so this cold air is going to make a little dive to the south, sending some of that milder air to the north. And as the jet stream begins to buckle in between the two, you get regions of low pressure that develop. That's going to be the pattern as we go through the rest of the week and really into next week as well. And that'll likely send several systems our way. And they'll vary in size and intensity, but nonetheless, we'll get some of those systems coming our way. And so let's go ahead and take you hour by hour on the European model here. You'll notice those temperatures back below freezing. This is Tuesday at 5 o'clock. We see that first system moving its way on into town, bringing a mixture of rain and snow to the area. And then we have another one coming in as we go from Wednesday and into Thursday. So these are the things that we do have to pay very close attention to. None of these look like huge major systems, but nonetheless, as we go through the next 6 to 10 days, the area between the heat and the cold is essentially the area where we have the greatest probability of seeing above normal precipitation, and that does include us here in Madison as well. We're just going to be on the cold side of the mix. Those warmer temperatures will be towards the south and east, with colder than normal temperatures towards the north and west. And so we're going to watch our temperatures come back down below average. By the way, our average temperature is starting to warm up towards 30 degrees, but nonetheless, we will see chances for snow returning to our forecast as well. That is traffic for you guys, but let me actually go and show you the next 7 to 10 days. And we do have 3 alert days due to that freezing rain potential as well. Temperatures, though, will be returning to the teens as we head towards Friday and into Saturday. And then by the time we head you towards next week, or at least the start of next week, we'll have some chances of snow again in our forecast, with temperatures in the single digits for lows and teens and 20s for those highs.
But nothing like we had last week.
We are not seeing the core of the polar vortex on top of us as we look ahead, but nonetheless, some reminders that it is still winter.
Yeah, very busy, very active pattern.
Active pattern indeed, and of course, we'll keep everyone up to date on every detail. I know they'll like to know it.
I know you will. Thank you, Chris.
Anytime.
It's time to get your plant and garden questions answered. Linda Bartsch from the Bruce Company is joining us to take your calls. 270-9933, the number to call. There's Linda. We'll be right back. Linda Bartsch from the Bruce Company is here taking your calls at 270-9933. This is a good sign. Seeds.
This is a good, I know, and you can actually think about buying them. People are purchasing seeds because you get the best selection now. Just so you know, if you're planning on coming in, they're at the store right now, but they're going to be at the Garden Expo for the weekend. So don't plan on coming in Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Most of the seeds will be at Garden Expo.
At the Alliant Energy Center.
There. At the Alliant Energy
Friday,
Center.
Saturday, and Sunday.
Yes, correct.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a good way to forget about winter a little bit. Go to the garden, the Garden Expo.
And you can plan your garden, and you don't start seeds just yet, but. And then I did
little
bring
orchid is pretty.
This orchid is gorgeous. This is a little dwarf version of the Phalaenopsis that's so popular. And then I brought a dwarf jade, and then a couple of different kinds of bird's nest fern. Notice how this has little spatula, like hands at the end.
Mm-hmm.
This one's called Crissa, and then there's another one that has curly little leaves called Crispy down front.
All right, yeah, it looks crispy.
Yes.
All right, let's go to the calls. We'll start with Sue in Loganville. Hi, Sue.
Hi, how are you?
Good, what's your question?
Okay. This might be a little bit early, but I have some raspberry stalks, you know. In the past, I have pruned them down before winter fell. This year, I left them up.
Okay.
When is the best time to prune a raspberry plant? Because in the past, all my raspberries were very small, and I'm thinking I'm doing the wrong thing.
Okay. Well, the size of the fruit is partly related to the pollination and the kind of weather that we had. But last year, everything was so wet. What I would suggest is that you get out there as soon as you can in early spring before you see any growth and cut those stems down to the ground, because they could very well have a fungus on the stems, and you don't want that transmitted to the new leaves. So remove anything that, unless they're fruiting canes. See, it sort of depends upon what kind of raspberries you have. Now I have to back up. Yes, because if they fruited last year, then those should be removed. If they're primo canes and are going to flower and fruit this season, then you would not remove those. So remove the old ones right down to the ground.
All right, let's go to Lori now in Janesville. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
Hi, which question? Go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, I bought one of those Christmas cactuses before Christmas, and it was all full of buds and flowers, and brought it home, and like within a week, everything fell off.
Oh, sometimes when those buds, when they are in a delicate stage, I don't even bring some of them to Channel 3, because just getting in a cart, even though I package them up, so if they got a cold snap, that would cause those buds to drop. It also is very important to have some decent humidity in your home, because we have our furnaces on during the winter, humidity drops, and flower buds will drop because of that also.
Probably got bit by a little cold, maybe.
Yes, but the plant, treat it as a house plant, and it'll flower next year.
All right, Bob from Rio, go ahead.
Yes, my ex-wife has a lily. We transplanted it last year into a bigger pots and everything. We've had it for quite a few years, 2 of them, and now when the leaves come up nice and green, they turn black. What's causing that?
Okay, now is this like an Easter lily? What kind of lily is
Peace
this?
lily?
Yeah, she got it for a funeral a few years ago.
Peace lily.
It comes out with blue flowers on it. It comes, it has blue flowers that come out with a stem.
Now the blue flowers. Well, and this is a house plant. This is not a lily that's meant to be growing outside.
She's been keeping it in the house and taking it out in the summertime.
Okay. Well, the only lily that I can think of that has blue flowers is actually a perennial that should be planted in the ground rather than grown as a house plant. So if you have a spot where you can, sunny spot, try that. I think it'll perform better for you.
This spring.
Yes, when it's warmer.
If you're on the line, stay there. Linda will talk to you off the air. Thanks for coming out today. Chris has one final check of our forecast.
Well, we have temperatures that are in the 40s right now, but things are going to be dropping as we go through the rest of the afternoon. In fact, by this afternoon, temperatures should be in the 30s, making it into the 20s by the time we get you into the overnight hours tonight. So do be prepared for those temperatures to drop. That is for sure. And then rain and snow chances do arrive by the time we get you towards the middle and end of the upcoming work week.
All right, that's our time for now. We'll see you back here at 4.